Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. I am Larry the Batman fan. Relax, Miles. It's alright. Miles decided to drop in this morning to my bedroom and he waited for me here because I was using the bathroom. Now he's here on my lap here. Well, anyways, wanted to talk about the Resident Evil games for all of y'all. Miles, no biting. Stop. You know. Here, you go back on the bed. Yeah, you sit on the bed, okay? Please don't rub on the tripod. I'm going to be monitoring you. Don't do that. Just sit on the bed and relax, please. Thank you. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about the Resident Evil games today. Please stop rubbing on the tripod, or I'm going to have to kick you out of here, Miles. I don't mean to be mean, but I don't want you rubbing on the tripod. Yeah, so I have some of the Resident Evil games here in this stack. Oh, I actually missed one. Right here. I had Resident Evil 2, 3, and I had let's see, on GameCube there was Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, and then the remake, which was Resident Evil. They just called it Resident Evil, but I know it was a remake of the first game. But I don't have very many of those anymore. I had to sell them in the past because I didn't have a job at the time. And the only way for me to get money was to sell some of my games and movies. So I no longer have them, unfortunately. I'm also I can't find Resident Evil 6. I don't know where it is. I had a copy of it for PS3. I can't find it. I looked through my PS3 collection over there and simply cannot find it. I don't know what happened to it. So that one's not going to be shown in this video. I also do have a special edition version of Resident Evil 5 in my Xbox 360 collection, which I have shown on camera before, but for some reason I can't find it. I don't know where it is right now. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I think we'll start from oldest to newest. So let's start with GameCube stuff, and then we'll work our way forward. GameCube and PS2. So first up, what I have Resident Evil 4 here for GameCube. And I have the PS2 version right here. I also own it on the Wii. Yeah, I have the Wii version of it as well. I will say it is a bit easier using the controller to play this game. You know, Resident Evil 4. Than using the Wii with the nunchuck and the Wii remote. You know. But overall, the experience is a bit different with the Wii. And it actually does work. You know, you can get used to it over time. So from what I gathered of Resident Evil 4 here, is that Leon Kennedy is searching for a girl, the president's daughter. He's trying to rescue her from some evil forces, demonic forces. And so he gets into this village, this town, and everything is not what it seems. The people that are there, they're a bit crazy. They're not zombies, but they're crazy. Some sort of plague spread throughout the environment, which caused them to get some sort of psychotic type of nature in them. Something changed them. They were just normal human beings, but some sort of force, went over them in the village, and they became psychotic. Some of them cook food and make fires and things like that, but they also make sacrificings to people and kill some of their own people. It's crazy. There's parts in the game where you actually see a pitchfork through a human body. This is not a game for children. This is definitely not a series that's suitable for kids. Because it is an M-rated game for a reason. Mature. For the gore and blood and violence. And language too. The Wii version of this added language in the game. Actually, the PS2 version says language as well. So, yeah, when you first start up the game, he talks to this guy inside of a building and asks for the girl. The guy comes at him, turns around and comes at him, but he dodges out of the way. He tells him, stop what you're doing, don't come near me. He's obviously not listening, so he had to take him out and just kill him. Yeah, it's crazy. I've rescued a dog in the game whose leg was caught on something. I was able to pull the trap up, let the dog out. I never beat this game. I got all the way to the part where you had to throw this spear at this shark. I kept dying at that part. I want to beat this game. I want to get this out of the way and beat it, but I just haven't been able to get past that part, you know. But from what I played, the game is excellent, you know. What more could be said? It's a great survival horror series. Resident Evil 4 is awesome. Another thing I know about Resident Evil 4, it really changed the aspect of Resident Evil, was that over-the-shoulder type of thing. And also, the aiming system and the walking was a lot better than the older games. Because the older games, it was kind of like, you walk forward, you kind of walk in like a circular way. Walking forward kind of moves you in a certain direction. It's awkward, to say the least. But eventually you get good at it. But it is awkward as hell. But the Resident Evil 4 really changed that and made it a lot easier to play. So, yeah, that's what I gotta say on Resident Evil 4. Out of all of them, I will say the graphics look the best with the GameCube version, surprisingly. Although I haven't played the PS4 version of the game, because I know they did make a PS4 version of this exact game. I'm not going to get that version because I have 3 versions of the game already. I don't want the PS4 version. The remake looks great. The characters in the game look amazing. And the guy with the chainsaw looks even more realistic. The monsters in the game look more realistic. But I don't want to buy it because I already own these 3 versions. I bought this version with my own money, this version with my own money, and this one I got off of Matthew, aka Gimpy Ninja Gaming, for free because I bought in bulk. So he hooked me up with this and I think one other game for free on that day. And that's the only reason why I got it, because he wanted like 10 to 15 bucks for this game, but because it's a damn good Wii game. But I didn't want to pay for it. So I was like, yeah, I'll take this one for free if that's okay. He was like, sure. Hooked me up with it. So that's how I got 3 different versions of this game. Alright, moving on. So now we have, of course, I gotta mention these 2. Resident Evil Outbreak and Resident Evil Zero. This game was also ported to the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch and probably the Xbox One as well. They made the Origins collection, which had this game and the Resident Evil 1 remake on it. So you could get that if you wanted to. I think I have the Origins collection on the Switch over there on the shelf. But yeah, this was a good game. This was actually the first Resident Evil game that I played. And I gotta say, the first time I picked up a controller and started playing this game, I had Rebecca Chambers roaming around and everything. And I see the zombies come out from their seats that they were sitting in and they come to attack you. That scared the hell out of me. It really did. It was scary as hell. I couldn't believe it. About pooped my pants, you know? Like, damn, that was scary. So, from what I gathered in this game, there was like 4 of you, and what you're doing is you're basically investigating what's going on. You see all these vicious dogs and all this crazy stuff going on. And so, like, the team gets separated. Someone gets killed, and then she starts to panic. She starts to wonder what's going on. What happened to this guy that was part of our team? You know, he was killed, obviously. It gets down to just you. You do have communication with 2 of your other co-workers, you know, in the game, because you're like a cop or something, and investigating. But on the actual train, it's just you. You know, at least you think it's you. You know what you do in Resident Evil. You go through a certain level. Certain doors are locked, so you have to find the key. You got to go up the stairs. You actually see the tiptoeing up the stairs, the animation of that, which is pretty creepy, I will add. Picking up green herbs to save your life, because if you get bit, it's just a few hits and you're dead. So you need those green herbs. You also do find a shotgun in this game and some ammo. I came across the ammo first before I found the shotgun. Had this giant crab that you had to fight in this game too later on, which was pretty cool. At a certain point, you meet the convict, Billy, as well. And you're reluctant at first to work with them. But when you come across a monster on the train, Billy comes to the rescue and actually saves her, because that monster turns into a freak, a bug freak, and damn near kills Rebecca. But she's saved just in time by Billy, because he starts shooting bullets at the thing, kills it, and tells her, look, I know you don't really like me, and I don't really have much of an opinion on you, but unless we work together, we're both dead. You know, we're both going to be shark bait, you know, fish food. So we have to work together. And then, even though she doesn't want to, she does agree to work with him. So they both give each other a walkie-talkie. She gives him a gun. And then they both work together to get off the train, you know. I got pretty far. I don't think I got... I did get off the train at one point, I think. But that was about as far as I got. I need to play this some more. I know that this game was also on the Wii. They did make a port of it on the Wii. I just had to mention that. And as for this game, this was a co-op type of Resident Evil game. There were 4 of you in the game, 4 survivors. You play as one of them, and then you had like 3 other characters that follow you around. The only problem I had with the game is that some of the characters, they don't always follow you in the game. Some of them are slow as molasses, and it's very easy for them to die, you know, get killed by the zombies. The opening level, there's like this big glass door. The door is locked, but the glass is like starting to crack slowly. The zombies are all behind it too. And there was only a few zombies in the beginning of the game, roaming through the spot where you were safe for a little bit of time. Those were easy to kill. But I will say you got to progress and move up the stairs and get in there. But it's only a matter of time before they break that glass and get through. So you kind of have to haul ass and move your ass. You know, not stay in that spot. I ended up getting to a spot where I climbed up a ladder. Was trying to crawl my way through a vent, but it was kind of narrow. and couldn't get through, and all the other characters died, and I'm the only one, and I couldn't figure out how to get through that vent, and eventually decided to climb back down, but the zombies were there, and I was fighting them with a crowbar. I got killed, unfortunately, but I tried several times, never got very far. There was a sequel to this game. It was Resident Evil Outbreak File 2. I used to have that game. I remember picking it up when GameStop was starting to get rid of their games. I paid only like $13 for that game. Kind of wish I had kept it, but at the time I wasn't working, so I had to sell it because I knew it was worth some money. And Mr. Deals, I think he gave me about 35 bucks for that. You know, I was very surprised by that. But the game, that sequel game, is going for about $50 to $60 now. Maybe even more, maybe 70. You know, so the sequel is expensive, but this version, first game, not very expensive. Only about $10 to $15. So, but they're both good games. Alright, next up we have a PS3 game. Resident Evil Revelations. This is a good game. You play as Jill Valentine in the game, and you're on like a ship. I know in Resident Evil 0 they were on a train, but here you're on a ship. It's just Jill and Chris Redfield. Eventually you meet up with him in the game. And on the ship there is some freaky things. Like, there are some monsters in the game you had to fight. The one that's right there, if you can see that. And there was a part in the game where it's like the zombie actually is talking to you through a door, a locked door with a chain on it. Mayday, mayday. Could someone help? Could someone let me out? Then when you let him out, you kind of have to run past him. Keep shooting at him, and the others... I don't even know if they're zombies, really. They didn't look like zombies. But, yeah, you have to fight them, shoot them, kill them. Excuse me. And move on, you know. There was a part in the game where there were the doors that you had to figure out how to unlock. There was a part where you were climbing up this, like, endless stairs. There was all these doors in there, and you had to find the right one to go into. It took a lot of progression, for sure. I remember this part where it kind of lures you down these steps, and then when you get in there, somebody gets killed by one of those zombies, or whatever they are, mutated freaks. And you end up having to go in that lab, because there was, like, ammunition and stuff. I had to kill that thing, you know. There were two of them, and you killed both of them. I think you also find some herb there, and a new gun, you know. Overall, it's a great game. It was also released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One as well. I have the PS3 version, as you see, and there was a sequel to this game as well, which was on PS3, but it was also available on PS4 and Xbox One, and possibly the Nintendo Switch, you know. In fact, yeah, it was on the Nintendo Switch, the Revelations collection. So, I will say the one thing I didn't really like, I didn't like how you had to scan things to pick things up. Like in all the other Resident Evil games, you could just pick up the item and add it to your inventory. This one you had to literally scan it just to pick it up. Like, that was stupid. And it is nice that you have somebody to help you in this game. Although Chris is not with you through the entire game, the first couple of levels, you're by yourself. But eventually you team up with him and you work together, which helps out greatly. So, I did enjoy that overall. We have a couple more to go and then we'll end the video. I have Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles. Basically, Resident Evil 0, but they made it more of an Unreal shooter with a few survival horror elements in the game. Pops out of you, the zombies and stuff. You could get a few jump scares out of it, but that's about it. And the two of you are in the game working together. You know, it's basically Resident Evil Zero, but an Unreal shooter, as I said. You know, Rebecca's voice is a little off in this game. It sounds kind of mousy, to be honest. It doesn't quite sound normal like she does in the GameCube version. But that isn't really, it's just a minor gripe with the game. Overall, this is still a pretty good Wii game. It's definitely one that I recommend you pick up. You know? Yeah. Here's the back if I didn't show it. Next up, we have Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. This game got mixed reviews when it came out because it plays more like a shooter, honestly. And the same could be said about Resident Evil 5 and 6. They play more like shooting games, not really survival horror. Although there might be a few times where you get scared. But overall, really not super scary. You know, I only jumped maybe once or twice. But in this game, you play as a team of 4. You're part of the Stars Corporation or Umbrella Corporation. You're trying to kill zombies and figure out what's going on, you know. And yeah, I think Nemesis or something makes an appearance there. That guy right on the front. I didn't get that far. I didn't get to that point. I got all the way up to this point where there are these soldiers that come busting through the door and they're shooting you and you have to take them out because they're shooting at you. And then I didn't get past that part. I kept dying. But I did think that this game was, adequate. I thought it was decent enough. It did have some fun moments in the game that I played. It's a third person shooter. Is how I see it. I don't really see it as too much horror. Just a few moments that are horror. You know, it's very light on the horror, and that's why a lot of people complained about this game. Said it sucks or it's watered down garbage from what Resident Evil normally was. It isn't that bad, honestly. It's one of those games where I like it, but some people don't. You know, one of those type of games. And that's fine. Everybody has their own takes on these games that are in the 6, range. Like 1 through 10. This will probably be a 6, you know. I will say that the zombies, they used the same zombie character models throughout the entire game. There was only about 10 different models of zombies in the game, which was lame. So, when you shoot them, kill them, move forward, you see the same zombie types in the game. Not much change, you know. But overall, I liked it. I thought it was a decent game. You know, not too bad. Moving on. Give me a second. How you doing there, bud? Getting yourself a bath, huh? That's nice. Alright. Now we have Resident Evil 5, the PS3 version. I do, as I said, own it for Xbox 360, the special edition version of the game. This game you play is Chris Redfield and that girl, I forgot her, Sheila, that's her name. And the two of you team up and work together in the game. And it's a good game. I do enjoy this game. It takes more It doesn't really take place in like a village or anything. It's more in like a desert, and the majority of the people that you fight are the zombies and a guy with the chainsaw. You know, the problem with the game is that it's not scary, um, and that's why a lot of people did not like Resident Evil 5 or Resident Evil 6. It was different, but it was nice. Overall, it still played well. I mean, the AI in the game knows when to get the fuck out of the way. You know, like if I'm about to shoot and she's like in the direction, she knows to get out of the way. She, maneuvers this way or that way or ducks down. So the AI in this game is good. Hold on a second. I gotta let Miles out. Yes, Miles. Go ahead. Yeah, so the AI in this game works. There are some games with stupid AI. For example, Brink. Brink was a shooter game made by Bethesda. They screwed that game up really badly. The AI in that game really sucked. You know, they would never duck out of the way. Thankfully, the friendly fire was on so they wouldn't die. Another game that had bad AI was Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon and Ghost Recon 2 on the PS2. You could literally pop a cap in one of the guys, the army guys, and kill them. Kill your own team members. It's like they needed to turn the friendly fire on. There was no option to turn the friendly fire on. But in this game, there was no friendly fire. Like if you shot at your friend, Sheila knew to get out of the way, or Chris knew to get out of the way. They weren't stupid. So Capcom did a good job with that. That the AI is actually good in the game. Yeah, overall, I didn't mind this game. I thought it was a pretty good game. It was a change for Resident Evil because it was like the first time that you had two people working together. The older Resident Evil games, you were by yourself, and sometimes that was kind of hard to get through the game, especially how difficult the game could be, So overall, I liked it. I did beat this game. I beat it with an old friend. His name was Robert. And not Robert from the Umbrella Robson I said, not that punk. A different Robert. Yeah, it was good. I liked it. Like I said, I have Resident Evil 6, but I don't know where it is. I'm looking for it, but I can't seem to find it. So that one will not be shown in this video. And I also don't own Resident Evil 8, The Village. Here's Resident Evil 2, the remake. I thought this was a good remake. It is scary. The opening level, you're playing as either Leon or Claire. You go to a gas station to get some gas. You get there and there's one cop there, or somebody that was working there, but he's infected and he's just sitting there in the chair like this with his hand over his wound. It's basically what is going on. She talks, he or she, depending on who you play as, either Leon, not Chris, Leon. He plays Leon in this game, or Claire Redfield. So, okay, we're going to get you some help, blah, blah, blah. Go to the back, get some supplies. You're attacked by one of the workers there, and you have to kill them, but your bullets are limited. You only got like 4 bullets. So I ended up killing that guy. And then when I go out to the next door, there are 2 other people that were there, maybe 3, and they're all infected. So I kind of just maneuvered past them and got out of the way. And I had to get back into the car. Yes, the graphics are good. The gameplay is good. You eventually get to this one house where you lock the gate so that the zombies couldn't get in, and you get into the building. It was actually a police station. Yeah, and then you end up talking to a cop. I think that's after you get, yeah, that's after you get in there. You go through this garage door thing that's open a bit and go underneath it, and you're searching around for stuff. But you're attacked by those things. But eventually you find your way out of there, and the cop pulls you out, and then you both slam that garage door shut. And he tells you that you only have two options. You either put a bullet in its head or you run. You know, don't hesitate like I did, because he got infected. He got bit. You know, he thought maybe he could reason with the zombies, but the zombies are not listening. They don't care. They just want to eat your brains out. You know what I mean? That's all they give a damn about. You know? And they don't care if you shoot them in the chest. There are certain characters that would shoot the zombies in the chest and it wouldn't do anything. You got to shoot it in the head. Pop a cap in its head. You know? Yeah, I like the story. Gameplay is pretty good. You know, there was a part where there was a locker room. There was like this gas going. You had to like find a key or something to get that locker open. Find a way to get that gas thing turned off so you could get through that area. You know, there's a lot of looking for stuff. You know. But in the process, also killing some of the zombies. And some of the cops were infected in this game, you know. So, it's about survival of the fittest. Later on in the game, or maybe that's the third game. We'll say that for, yeah, that's the third game. I was thinking, I'm getting the two mixed up because I played both of them. Alright, now this one had Jill Valentine. The other one was Claire Redfield. This one has Jill and some dude named Carlos. Nemesis is after you like crazy in this game. You know, he's one hard SOB to kill. He really is. He's tough. Tough as nails to kill. Carlos even fired a rocket launcher at him and it only stunned him for probably about 20 minutes because they think he's dead, but then they go down to the train station, everything's normal for a little bit. It's Carlos and two other guys plus her talking a little bit. Eventually you get a walkie-talkie to communicate with them, and eventually, you know, you're fighting zombies again. I remember there's a part where there's a hose. You had to use the hose to spray down the fire so that way you could clear a path to get through. I remember that. There was some other parts where like she's talking to this guy and another dude, and then one dude that was infected, he's like, I'm fine guys, please don't shoot, but he ends up shooting them anyways. She was like, what the blank did you do that for? He said, he was infected. He's going to turn. Well, how do you know that? Because, Jill, they always turn. You know what I mean? And he was right. He was actually right, but she didn't think that, but he was right. I remember a part in the very beginning where you're going through this like field area, you kill a few zombies, or they get in your way and kind of have to move past them because you don't have a lot of bullets, you know, starting out. And there's this one guy, she's like, wait, come with me, you can get to safety. He says, ma'am, the only safe place is in here. And then he slams the door shut. He's in a truck, a parked truck, and he slams the door shut and locks it. You know? Yeah, it's a good remake, a good game. I haven't gotten super far, but hoping that I can eventually get far in this game. Hopefully soon. I like the graphics in this game. It looked really good for a remake. For a PS4 game, for a remake, excellent. Both of them looked excellent. And the last game that I have is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This game really went back to its roots and its scariness. I mean, yes, these two remakes did have some scary moments in it. So I'm not going to say that they're not scary. They are. But, you know, going from like Resident Evil 5 and 6 and the Revelations games and Operation Raccoon City, none of those games were really that scary. So going from that to this was second to none. Because this game was fucking scary. Like, holy shit, this game was scary. There were mannequins in this game. They were literally standing up in one spot. You turn around, you're looking at some painting on the wall to see if there's anything coming your way from down the steps. Then you turn around, the mannequins moved. Like, what? Oh, that's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Basically, the Baker family kidnaps your girlfriend. You're playing as a different guy. You're playing as Ethan Winters. So they introduce a new guy, Ethan Winters, and he goes looking for his girlfriend. But when he gets to the Baker house, things are not what it seems. He finds a tape. He puts the tape in the actual VCR in this one room. And there were 3 guys. It plays out for like 10 minutes. They all end up killed. Definitely check that out on YouTube. It'll take a while for me to explain that part. So I'm not going to, because this video is at almost 40 minutes. But yeah, it's definitely a different take on Resident Evil for sure. Definitely a lot scarier, a lot more gory. There's paintings on the walls and everything. Parts where you get to find your girlfriend, but she is not what she is, or supposed to be, you know. It has to end now, she says in the game. She comes at you with a chainsaw trying to kill you. It's like, geez, girl, I just wanted to rescue you. I didn't want you to try and kill me. You had to shoot her several times in that part of the game. It's very freaky. Eventually, you get the demon out of her. I think there was some sort of spell on her or whatever, causing her to go ape shit on you, you know, like crazy. So, but yeah, it's a good game. Definitely not for the faint of heart, for the weak. Definitely a scary one. And for a game that came out, I believe, 2017. Yep, 2017. So this game's about, see, it's 2024. This game's about 7 years old, you know. It's crazy, 7 years old, but it's still that amazing. And you can pick this game up at GameStop for about $10 now. You have no excuse not to pick it up. It's a good game. The AI in the game is good. The scariness of the game is good. Everything about it is good, you know. So I recommend Resident Evil 7. I recommend pretty much all these games. They're all excellent, you know. There's not one game in this spot that I have that I would say is crap. Of course, I never played Resident Evil Survivor. I've seen the nerd talk about that, the Angry Video Game Nerd. So I've heard that game sucks. But I've never played it, so I have no opinion on it. I don't own the original Resident Evil, the director's cut for PS1, or the Sega Saturn version of the game. I know Resident Evil 8 is out there. You can pick that up on PS4 or PS5 or Xbox One or Xbox Series X. Resident Evil Outbreak File 2, and I know that there's Resident Evil Revelations 2, and Origins Collection. And there was another remake of Resident Evil 4. It's not the version that was on... There's a version on PS4 that was exactly the same as the Nintendo Wii, GameCube, and PS2 version. But there was a remake of that as well. I think there was a Resident Evil game on Game Boy Color as well. Gaiden. Never played that. But I've heard of it. But I never played it. And then there's Resident Evil Dead Aim, which I used to have. And I tell you, that game's okay for a rail shooter, but overall it wasn't that amazing of a game. It was average at best. Well, anyways, that's all I really got to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. As you can see, I'm rocking out in the Resident Evil shirt for this video. I felt like it was fitting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my opinions on Resident Evil. You know, I know it's kind of ludicrous for me to think, or for you to think rather, that I'm a Resident Evil fan because I'm a Christian. So yeah, usually I'm against horror stuff. I'm totally against it. But the Resident Evil franchise I did get into for some reason. And it's one of the only horror games that I really got into. Honestly, all the other horror games I don't get into like that. Just Resident Evil and Dead Island. That's it. You know. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for more gaming videos. They are coming in the future. God bless you all. Have a blessed day. Take care. Peace. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I hope y'all are doing well. It's Larry the Batman fan here. So there were two more games that I wanted to mention for the Resident Evil video that I did yesterday, but I just forgot to add these into the video, so I'm going to talk a little bit about them. I have Resident Evil Origins Collection for the Switch. It's also available on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. They pretty much have remade everything in the way of Resident Evil. They haven't been doing too much new with Resident Evil stuff, except for Resident Evil 8. I do wonder if they're going to make a Resident Evil 9, but who knows? I really have no idea. Where would they go with the story at Resident Evil 9? But this is Resident Evil Origins Collection, and in this game, it's basically Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1 Remake, but on the Switch. They have had these on GameCube and the Nintendo Wii as well. And it's the same old thing. You know, one story you're on a train, the other one you're in some like spooky mansion. You know, got to explore. I know I've pretty much talked about this before, but I'll give you a little bit of elaboration on it. Like the one where you're on the train, it's Rebecca. She gets on the train. She has communication from a few people, although one person I believe got bitten. And then as you're exploring the train, some of the characters that were sitting down come and get back up to life, but they're zombies, so you have to shoot them. It does scare her. It does freak her out a bit. I would be freaked out too if I'm on a train and there's a bunch of zombies on the train. So you have to kill them. You know, you search for the key to unlock a door. You pick up herbs in the game to restore your health, because once you start, you know, when you've been bitten, you start limping like this. You have your hand over your chest. You know, only can take a few hits, 3 or 4 hits, you know, before you're dead. Eventually, she comes across Billy, and Billy is a convict. He's wanted for murder. Well, you end up having to team up with him because at first you resist, and you start roaming around in the place, but then you come across a person you think is a human being, but he turns out to be a monster, and he turns into like this bug-eyed type of monster, and he damn near kills you. But then Billy comes to the rescue and actually saves her and tells her that they need to work together to get off the train, to survive and live. You know what I mean? So that's that. And then the other one, 4 of the stars people survive and they make it into the spooky mansion. One thing that was kind of creepy is that the door's shut, but the dogs kind of poke through a little bit. If I had been them, I probably would have put a piece of wood through the door. I think they do at a certain point because they realize the door keeps opening at random. So they put something in the middle there to block the door to keep them out. But then they start exploring the mansion. They split up into 2 teams. Chris and Jill go one way, and then the other 2 characters, they go another way, searching through the mansion. And what they find in the mansion is not exactly kosher. You know what I mean? Especially when Jill comes across a zombie. You know, when Chris sees it, oh, hold on, I'll take care of it. And he kills the zombie, shoots it in the head. You know, the atmosphere and environments in the game are really gorgeous looking. They do look good. I also do like that with this game they fixed the controls. You have the option to play with the tank controls in this game, or you can switch it to its all new controls. When you walk forward, you actually walk forward. When you walk back, you walk back. You walk normal. But if you're used to the tank controls, they also implemented that in this game, so you can play with the tank controls. But personally, I didn't want to play with the tank controls, so I turned that off and switched to the new controls, and it plays A lot better. Walking forward is normal. Walking back is normal. No jumping bullshit mechanics. You know what I mean? I hated that shit in Tomb Raider. The older Tomb Raider games, when you would walk forward, you walk normal. When you walk back, you jump. You know, I just hate that. Causes you to get killed. So, anyways, yeah, good game. It's a remake, but it's a good game. I did not download the Resident Evil 1 remake on this thing. I could download it, but I'm getting the Wii version of it, so I don't have to download crap. That's coming in the mail very soon. And then the last game I have here is Resident Evil Code Veronica X. I have the PS2 version. I got this at a game exchange years ago when I visit my friend Dylan in Connecticut. I paid only $6 for it. Really good deal for this game because it's going for about 10 to 15 bucks now on eBay, you know. So it's not expensive. The GameCube version of the game is very expensive. Here's the disc and manual, you know, and then the cover art. So this game, from what I gathered, you play as Claire Redfield. You wake up on an island, and when you wake up, there's only one other person there who's normal. Although I think he was bitten, you know. But he tells her that everything is not what it seems on the island. She doesn't quite understand what he means by that. What do you mean? He just tells her, you're free to go. You're no longer a prisoner. Good luck getting off the island, though. She's like, well, what's the problem? He said, briefly, that the island was infected by monsters and zombies. She said, well, she doesn't really believe him at first. She really doesn't, to be honest. She thinks that's just a hoax. But he tells her, here, take this with you. You're free to go. And he doesn't want to really say much after that. So he gives you a gun with bullets. She takes it with her. And then you leave the prison. When you get outside and start roaming around, you come across the zombie. They got spikes in them and fire coming out of him, but he's still alive for some reason. 3 other zombies following him around. She gets freaked out and scared. Really all you can do is run because you don't have a lot of bullets in that gun. You only got like 3 or 4 bullets. So you're better off just running past them. And then you get to the next part of the game. I got to the part where you had to drop an amulet into a machine for it to open up a gate or something. And if you don't leave the amulet in it, it closes everything off. I couldn't find that amulet, but I'm still looking for it. There was another part where you had to search this like cabin area. I got to that. I got past that. When I got inside the cabin though, there was like 3 zombies roaming around in there. I had to grab some ammo and kill every single one of them in that room. Overall, yeah, this is a really good game. I've seen gameplay of it later on in the game, like the parts where I haven't gotten to. And it just is a very good game. It's very interesting. I love the atmosphere of the game. The spookiness of the game is really scary. I remember there was another part in this game where I walked through another cabin area. There's like a dead body lying on the bed. You walk past it and you start to see it slither its way towards where you are. And there was some other zombies like banging on the door and everything. You see like some shotgun or whatever ammo. Gotta pick that up ASAP because they bust through that door pretty quickly. And there's like 3 of them. You gotta sort of back up some more and shoot them. Or you can just skip them and then just shoot that guy that's on the floor in the head a couple times and then go out the door. You don't necessarily have to fight them. First time I tried to fight them, I got killed. You know, so second or third time trying to get through, I just killed the one that was on the floor moving around so I could get past them and then ran out the door. You know, didn't bother fighting those zombies. But yeah, it's a good game overall and I highly recommend it if you're a Resident Evil fanatic. I definitely recommend that. So those are all the Resident Evil games that I own. I know there's probably a few more. There's one on Game Boy Color And there's also one on the DS, the Radiant Dawn, which I once did have, but I traded it in. I no longer have that game, and I found out it's actually gotten pretty rare. I couldn't believe how rare that DS game got. But all in all, it was just a remake of the first game. I never could get down with the controls, and I got killed several times by the zombies in that game. You gotta be really good at the DS handheld ports of that. And I know there's also Resident Evil Survivor, which the Angry Video Game Nerd talked about, because it's supposed to be the worst piece of crap Resident Evil game ever made. It's not really worth your time. It's very bad. I've never played it personally, but I've heard so many people talk about it and say it was really a bad game. So that one's really not worth buying. Unless maybe you find it for $5 or something. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and take care. Larry the Batman fan signing off. Peace.